Welcome back to a mini edition of the USFL podcast. I'm the ref representing Pro Football Newsroom, and we got a little one for you because guess what, guys? We're going live this Sunday. So normally we'd have a podcast right now, but we're going to do it after the playoffs. After the playoffs, because we want to get you the action. We want to talk about the action. Plus, we're going to preview the championship. But before we get to that, we got some picks. And before we get to picks, how you doing today, Zach? My man, we got the playoffs coming up.
I'm doing so damn good, Stefan. We're just finishing up things and touches for the championship weekend. You know, I know we can't be there, but playoff footballism is upon us, and we'll still get to watch that and see it unfold in front of our eyes so that we can also be better prepared for the USFL championship the week after, for 4th of July weekend. It's going to be a fun smash up in Canton, Ohio. I all week it's been just kind of everyone going, wow, we're really here. Wow, this is happening. Oh my God, they're actually promoting this, that, and whatever. You know, there's a playoff T-shirt on the website.
I'm signed up on
I know
that.
That seems such a random swerve, but you don't see that. So you don't think you see that until now. No, it's here. It's here, man.
We made it a full
good.
season. We're getting to the playoffs. We're getting a championship. Speaking of the championship, before we get into the picks, because that's why we're here, we couldn't go into the playoffs without some picks. You know that.
That's right.
But before we get into the picks, summer stock, man. Summer stock, it's getting close. Just a week away, basically. So nice. We're doing it twice, July 2nd, July 3rd. First day, we're doing a live tour of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, 2 p.m. Eastern. Like I said, so nice. We're doing it twice, so we got to use the two. It's a 2-day event. Come join us at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We're doing a tour with the fans and probably some of the community members as well. So it's going to be a good time all around. But the next day on the 3rd, join us outside of Tom Benson Stadium, Hall of Fame Stadium. Excuse me, because the party's in the parking lot. We're getting live for summer stock, and come join us for a tailgate live show, free food, free guests, free giveaways. It's all free. Even if you hate us, come grab a hot dog. But if you can't make it to Canton, we get it. Join us on YouTube. We're going live, baby. And it's going to be probably 4 hours, maybe 4 hours plus, starting at noon Eastern, July 3rd. And that's for the championship. We don't know who's going to be in the game, but we will soon, Zach, and that's exactly why we're here. We got some picks. First game up Saturday. We got a doubleheader here. 3 p.m. Eastern on Fox. We have the Philadelphia Stars taking on the New Jersey Generals. We saw it just this previous week. The Generals pulled it out. I don't know, Zach. Was it a ploy from the Stars? Or was it the Generals getting ready to do what they do best and win?
Yeah, if it was a ploy from the if this was a ploy from the Stars, or if this was them disguising anything, I ask, where was it? Was this the best fake out that we've ever seen? Because these two played like it was a regular season slugfest, like it was for all the marbles, for everything. It felt very much not like a Week 10 football game, and it played out that way. The only thing I can think of that maybe makes me wonder what'll change is, do you see the Generals run with 2 QBs, swapping them in and out throughout the contest again? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure if you can do that, because DeAndre Johnson is talented, and you wonder where he is right now at this point. But you know who really won? Luis Perez really won that game for them against the Stars. He is there. He is right now just the most comfortable quarterback in that system. I think that maybe they use DeAndre Johnson, I don't know, as more of a gadget specialty play, but they're not. That's the only thing I can see really changing for the most part. They're probably not going to do more of the pure 2 QB again. I think this is the last week you see that. It's going to be they pick Luis, they stick with him, they switch it up every now and then. Otherwise, I don't know. Like, the Stars kind of threw a lot of stuff at the Generals, even though you're playing them back-to-back weeks. And I think if anything, Bart Andrews has to be going, guys, we can take these we can take the Generals.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to play a cleaner game. We have to play at their speed, control the contest our way. It was so close to an overtime contest or a possible win for Philadelphia. I mean, Philly was actually set up for possibly getting the win out of this. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, man. I think that was as close to what you're going to see on Saturday as you're going to get. Not too much felt like it was being hidden behind the curtain.
It didn't. I was quite surprised. I mean, it was a hard-fought game. I mean, the Generals, though, to me, it just added on the fact that they're unstoppable. They lost the first game of the season, but since then, they've ran the gauntlet. They've made it, and quite honestly, they've set themselves up in a way where they might run the gauntlet all the way through to the championship. And honestly, that's why I think for this championship, the playoff matchup, semifinals, I have to go with the Generals here. Even look at the top honors this year. We got the MVP. We got the coach. They got grabbed a good chunk of that. And I mean, quite honestly, Zach, a big reason I won our inaugural fantasy football championship. Let's give me a round of applause, guys. Yeah.
You deserve that.
Is because the Generals. It is I had Darius Victor, I had Cavante Turpin, and I had Walker. So I mean, I can't go against them here. I think they're going to pull it out. I think we're going to see them repeat what they did last week, go 3-0 on the season against the Stars. Not to say that the Stars aren't going to put up a fight. I think Case Cook if there's anybody that could beat the Generals, it is him. And I think he's going to play his heart out this on Saturday. But I don't know if he has the supporting cast around him like the quarterbacks, if we will, in New Jersey do.
Man, this is where I have to start looking deeper into, okay, what are the struggles between these two teams? Because I mean, they both contests, one possession. Cook's first one, of course, he was swapped in because that was the game Brian Scott got knocked out for the season. And then this last one, Stars fought from behind, took the lead, had to fight from behind once more again. I mean, it was back and forth contest. Something though that stands out in both of these games, and one thing that the Generals are experts at, if you can tell, only one other team did this better for the most of the season. That was Michigan, by the way. They are a damn fine team when it comes to running the football.
Oh, yeah.
They have a dual-threaded system in there. Now, credit the Stars. Sure, they got Darnell Holland. Sure, they got Matt Colburn and Paul Terry. But thing is, the Generals can combat that. They are very much versed. They are the best rushing defense in the USFL this season. That's New Jersey, by the way, which is funny because the complete polar opposite is in Philadelphia. They gave up an average this year of 151 rush yards per contest. 113 alone went to Trey Williams last week. Darius Victor can easily do that on his own. Both of them can easily push 150 combined. My question for Philadelphia is, can you stop those two? Because then you can focus on getting pressure with Adam Rodriguez and company to Luis Perez or DeAndre Johnson. That slows down Cavante Turpin or Darius Shepard or Jamon Moore. The key is the run defense. That is the thing I think Bart Andrus and his crew have to realize, is that we have to shut down the offensive player of the year and his compatriot in the run game. I mean, sure, Cavante Turpin, you can do some design jet sweeps or reverses if you want. He's very versatile, but he's not the run game. He is a weapon that's a multifaceted threat. That's why he won MVP, by the way. If you have to find a way to slow down Darius Victor and Trey Williams, and that's really the best case, I think, for the Stars, is find that and maybe find something that you can with your own run offense. Otherwise, give Case Cook as much time as possible. You can't give up any sacks in this one. You can't have him taking more hits, which he takes a lot of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that is the truth. I mean, sure, KJ Costello, maybe if he has to step in an injury, but I wouldn't want to ask for doing that. I think the Philadelphia rush defense is the reason I got to go with New Jersey. I just, the two matchups for the majority of the year, that's been Philadelphia's kryptonite. If you're gonna go against them, I mean, heck, my Panthers should have at least won one of those matchups because of it. For crying out loud, I know I'm tears, but it's too late anyway. I got Philadelphia too, I got New Jersey as well. Yeah, caught myself there. But I mean, Philadelphia, I think it's going to be a fun one. Like last week was, I think, great. It was a great prepper for what we should expect. Like I said, I just don't think there's enough to stop Trey Williams and Darius Victor. And even if you do, New Jersey's been pretty decent, at least protecting their QBs this year. No matter who it's been. Luis Perez has gotten better, I think, at maneuvering the pocket as the year's gone on. He's really comfortable right now. It's hard pressed for me to see where you can nick the Generals at this time.
Right. And quick correction: Trey Williams, not Trey Walker, on my fantasy team.
There you go.
Thank you. But yeah, so we're in agreement there. The Generals are going to pull it out. Either way, I think it's going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be probably similar to what we saw last week, with a little bit more gas on each side, right? Because this is the one that either ends the season or continues it. But later game, semifinals, 8 p.m. Eastern, Breakers and Stallions. Now, this is the first time the Stallions are playing outside of a home environment. So it's going to be a little bit different for them. But now I will say this. I don't know if it necessarily works against them because it's not anybody's home crowd. And if I think the Stallions might have a good amount of people make that trip up to Canton, Ohio. So it could turn into a pseudo Stallions home environment regardless of the actual location. I mean, we know one tailgate group that's going to be there. Those thoroughbreds, Buckham, get signed up. I mean, going into the playoffs, neither of these teams have looked especially strong. And that's not a knock on either of these, but I think it would be a fair assessment to say that both of them look much scarier early in the season than they did later in the season. Now, another thing to think about is in both of the regular season matchups against these teams, it was expected that we were going to see an offensive showcase, just a smorgasbord of offense, when in reality, it was a very slow, sloppy, pressured game on both sides.
It was.
Now, the Stallions pulled them both out, only defeated by the one and only Gamblers, all in. Either way, this could be the trap game of all trap games, if you think about it, though. I feel like the Breakers could come in and win this. I'm not necessarily saying that's where my pick's at. But I think this is if there's any game where either team could win, this is it right here. Just looking at the last 2-3 weeks in the season. Thoughts, Zach, what are your feelings here?
I'm just revisiting the previous two matchups. Both sides, they were hell-bent on trying to stop one another on offense. That was just seeing who could get the most confusion involved, who can get the most, I would say, deception on defense, the best in terms of mixing up the coverages. Is Kyle Sloter or Jamar Smith going to be able to adjust on the fly, and who was able to get one or two more opportunities in the secondary? Because I'll tell you, John Chavis, at least for the John Chavis for the Stallions, and then of course for Jonathan Tenuta there, they have both been doing this in each one of these contests. That has been their bread and butter this year, is to just kind of go after the quarterback, read tendencies, and to just slow the game down. Whoever gets their pace first. Mm-hmm. That's been how it's gone. Now, last time these two played at Legion Field, I'll be honest with you, the Breakers really should have walked away with this. They missed 3 field goals and extra point, and they lost by 1. Mm-hmm. 10-9 score. I mean, sure, Stallions also missed their fair share, but New Orleans was right on the doorstep. And I cannot see this going to be an explosive contest. I think both these teams, they just read each other that well. Mm-hmm. I feel like both of them know what the other wants to do. And I think a lot of this will come down to me. If you're going to see an upset, how much did resting Kyle Sloter help with the Breakers for this week.
Right.
That's the big question mark, because you're not, trust me, if I'm going to go off of what we saw with Zach Smith last week against Houston, or even Shea Patterson, I mean, Smith has had his moments, but Sloter is he's the main motor of this offense. That is the entire reason New Orleans is at, well, not entirely, but that is one of the key cogs as to why New Orleans is here, besides that defense that can go pound for pound with at least Birmingham's on the opposite side. And it's going to be coming down to, when we talk about chess matches, of course, John Chavis has gotten the best of Noel Mazzoni both times so far. And then on the opposite side for the Stallions, Tenuta's been able to do enough to keep him in games, but Skip Holtz's play calling has prevailed at the end of the day. So to me, I'm going to say it that I think Manifest Destiny will suit itself and Birmingham makes it there. And my main thing is I don't trust that Kyle Sloter had enough time to sit out. 1 week I think helps. I think the idea is you want to see him a little more mobile. You don't want to see him being a handoff machine like he was against the Bandits, which definitely in the second half, they just turned him into a handoff machine. He came in there. He was giving it to Ellis or Jones the entire time, or at least the majority of the time. So you want him to be what he was at least middle to early middle of the year, like weeks at least 1 through 4. And I don't know if he can get that. I don't think that that's enough time for how battered he's been.
Oh, and he's beat up. It's not just one or two injuries. He's head to toe. He's got a little bit of something going on.
And John Chavis, I think, knows that. I think that's the whole goal. It's like, we're just going to pound Kyle Sloter. We're just going to continue to make him uncomfortable. Is the thing for Sloter and for Mazzoni. I think your best bet is you need to have to work the quick passing game, and you need to find some way to get the running game some lanes. If you can't make the lanes, you got to get the quick passing game going and get those guys like Johnny Dixon, Jonathan Adams, especially even Sal Cannella. Get these guys quick throws. Let their athletic ability work in the middle of the field. Otherwise, and I'm going to stick with this, I think the Stallions have more of the health in terms of the key positions. I think that they are more battle tested for this spot. And I also believe that they're just going to walk away. This has felt like since week 1, it has felt like the Stallions and the Generals are going to meet up. That we consistently, week over week, we've seen the Generals improve week over week, which is, I've explained to someone, that's why I believe Mike Riley won the Coach of the Year over Skip Holtz. No offense. Skip has done a great job too. But both of these coaching staffs, both of these teams have just had that much talent. And with Birmingham being the host city, it just feels like it's bound to happen. I think you're going to see these two meet up. Because I want a rematch.
Cap, ended off the way we started things out, right?
It was such a good kickoff. It is, and this isn't even me being biased. It was, out of recent leagues, it was my favorite kickoff game. It had everything I wanted. It was good. I want it again.
Well, and it helps that we were there, and we might see a rematch. And honestly, Zach, I'm going to agree with you. I think we're going to see that rematch. I also agree, as much as I want to go against you and go for the Breakers here, I think the Stallions are going to pull it out. And like you mentioned, there's two factors to me. One, the health. And when we look at both the teams, I think the Stallions have the edge. Now, the saving grace for the Breakers, really, I think it comes down to their defense. If their defense can not only stop the ball, get the ball, and score the ball, then, hey, maybe we're talking a game. I don't know, like you said, if 1 week is enough for Kyle Sloter to really get the rest that he needs. Now, it wasn't really an option because they didn't have that playoff spot sealed, and as we saw last week, you kind of need Kyle Sloter in there for them to be effective because it wasn't pretty last week. Going into this, I think the Stallions are going to pull it out. It's still, because the Breakers defense, I think it's still going to be a close game. I think they're both going to be trying to rile each other's quarterbacks up, keep them uncomfortable is the big thing, as we saw in the previous two iterations. But you know what? It might come down to kickers. Maybe this is Bertlet's redemption story right here. I would love to see it, but I kind of want to see the rematch of week 1 to cap things off. And so I'm going to say the Stallions pull it out here.
Yeah, I really want to get this rematch, honestly, and for New Orleans, like I said, I think if you're going to win, you're going to have to be able to find a way to back off the blitz. Don't don't let DeMarcus Gates or Scooby Wright, get blitzes or edge rushes off the side and getting in your face in Kyle Slaughter's face. I think also, for the Stallions, to me, something that they adjusted last week against the Bandits that I was wondering if maybe they would start tuning away, because they started the early season with CJ Marable, and up until he was knocked out for injury reasons, and they got and switched to Bo Scarborough as the primary back. They started leaning on Scarborough as the feature back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's great and all, but Bo Scarborough is not a good pass catcher, and teams to me started keying in on the run.
Mm-hmm.
So what they did last week against Tampa Bay is that you saw Marable start getting swapped in more. They started doing a two back system again, even got Tony Brooks James in there a few times. But Marable is so versatile in any of the facets of that. I think that helps with your offensive scheme. You're able to do a little bit more. It confuses the defense as to what they're going to be able to do, because Marable's able to do any of those facets of the game out of the backfield. So I think that also comes down as a factor, seeing what they do that side. Because if they key on Bo too much, or if Skip uses Bo more often and doesn't swap them around, I think that's also something that disrupts the flow. Because they can be Jamar Smith can get hot in the passing game, but he works best when the offense it's very much functioning where you can mix things up. He can get into a rhythm because the run game's in a rhythm. Then he can get the pass open because he has less pressure on him. To me, that's the best way to combat what Tenuta's going to do on the other side, especially the blitzes, especially the constant pressure. But yeah, man, manifest destiny. It's just going to happen. To me, it's going to happen. If there's an upset, holy crud, I'll eat crow, and I'm excited to talk about the change up for some people. But I really think we're going to get a General Stallions Part 2 that I hope lives up to that hype at that point.
Me too.
We'll talk more on it, of course, summer stock if it does come up again. So,
well, keep in mind, we're also going live just a couple days from now, Sunday, 12 p.m. Eastern. Right. We're going to be recapping all the action from the playoffs, previewing the action for the championship, and kind of getting ready for that summer stock where we're going live from Canton, Ohio. The party's in the parking lot, 12 p.m. Eastern, July 3rd. We're going live. We're going to be here on YouTube. We're also going to be having all sorts of guests that we'll be revealing probably throughout the next week, so stay tuned. But before that, like I said, next thing up, Sunday, the live stream's already ready to go in YouTube, so you can go there, hit the reminder. We'll have a link down below. Click it, get it ready, because you won't want to miss it. Beyond the recap and the preview, we're doing Q&As. We're interacting with the fans. And, I mean, what a beautiful way to cap off the USFL season right here. Not only cap it off, we made it to the end of a season, Zach. Let's just mention that before we head on out into the sunset.
Yeah.
For the first time in a long time, we're here in the playoffs of a spring football league. And you know what? Before you know it, we're going to be at the championship. And then we're going to be talking about all sorts of fun stuff in the offseason.
That's right.
Any last thoughts before we head off into the weekend and get into the playoffs?
It's finally here. Look, and just enjoy, if you're a diehard fan like we are, just enjoy the ride. And sit back, relax. Know that you're gonna get a championship coming up here, and just watch some good football. These are indeed the four best teams. I have no doubt in my mind this should be quality football with these four on here. These guys have the best rosters, the best talent in the league right now. Overall, that is. They're of course like guys like Chris Odom and Donald Payne. Nonetheless, they have the best overall rosters on these four teams with coaching staffs that have proven themselves. Enjoy that ride, and then let the excitement overflow. It's finally here. A spring playoff series coming up. The first time we've had one since, for spring in 2001.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's a long time.
It's been a while.
It's a long time.
Well, guys, until Sunday, 12 p.m. Eastern, sign everybody up.